Before the anesthesia, the patient asked the doctor,
Mr. Doctor, what are my chances?
Sir, I am doing this operation for the 100th time.
Ah, I'm calm.
It's also normal. After all, I must succeed.
One guy was always late to work. The boss calls him into a meeting, tells him if he doesn't correct himself, he will be fired. In desperation, he follows the advice of some friends and buys a bottle of cognac. In the evening, he drinks the entire bottle to be sure of the effect, until, relaxed, he falls asleep. He wakes up in the morning 2 hours before the clock rings, perfectly rested, and arrives at work one of the first. The boss also appears.
Boss, I'm not late today.
I'm seeing. But where were you yesterday?
Hello, neighbor. Since when do you wear earrings?
Since my wife found them in the car.
Landing on our planet, the commander of the alien ship excitedly reports to his superiors.
There is life on Earth.
After a few days of observations, the power struggles, the excessive armament, the miserable salaries, the protests, the established hate and anarchy, the alien commander reports bitterly.
I was wrong, sir. This is not life.
Two fishermen meet on the street.
Did you catch anything today?
Yes. The neighbor with my wife.
2 jokes with Newton. Did you know? Before Isaac Newton invented gravity in 1869, people could fly.
I love you with all my forces.
Newton.
The sum of forces are always equal to 0.
A reporter asks the first man she meets on the street market,
How do you comment on the news that 3 out of 4 politicians take drugs?
If we judge by the way the country is run, I think they should change their dealer.
What did one hat say to the other? You wait here, I'll go on ahead.
What is an astronaut's favorite part on a computer? The space bar.
What did the left eye say to the right eye? Between you and me, something smells.
Can February, March? No, but April, May.
I have many jokes about rich kids. Sadly, none of them work.
Whoa. A man enters the restaurant. The waiter comes and asks him,
What shall I bring you, sir?
Coffee. Make sure you put 9 teaspoons of sugar in it.
Ironically, the waiter asks,
9? Couldn't I put 10 so that the calculation is round?
No, leave it like that with 9 teaspoons. I like it a little bitter.
Martin and Fred go into a shop. Martin immediately steals 3 pastries and puts them in his pocket. He says to Fred,
See how good I am. The owner didn't see a thing.
That's easy. I'm going to show you an honest way to get the same result.
He goes to the owner of the shop and says,
Give me a pastry and I will show you a magic trick.
Intrigued, the owner accepts and gives him a pastry. Fred swallows it and asks for another one. The owner gives him another one. Then he swallows that one and asks for a third pastry and eats that, too. The owner is starting to wonder where the magic trick is and asks,
So what is the trick?
Look in my friend's back pocket.
A fine gentleman was crossing the street. Through an unauthorized place. The policeman stops him and says,
You crossed the street in an unauthorized place. The fine is $50.
Okay, but look, I'll give you $300.
Why $300?
I plan to continue crossing here, so I'm signing up for a monthly subscription.
A guy calls a radio show to ask for the opinion of a psychologist.
Sir, I also have a question. How do you tell your wife that she has gained weight without offending her?
The psychologist listens to the question and answers it.
My dear, when I met you, you were like a flower. Now you are like a bouquet.
Last year on Halloween, I was watching a movie in living room. Someone knocked on the door. I looked through the viewfinder and shouted to my wife, Honey, a witch has come to the door. Should I open it for her?
Yes, open the door, give her some sweets and come back.
Since then, my mother-in-law has not spoken to me.
A mad scientist tested a frog. He cut its leg off and said, Jump. The frog did not jump. Scientists therefore concluded that when frogs lose their legs, they become deaf.
When I die, my atoms will come undone. I'll be space dust. Once again, the wind will carry me scatter me everywhere, like dandelions in springtime, or visit worlds and alien moons. It will be so damn poetic until I land on your sandwich.
Baby, tonight, I could bring you the moon and the stars in the sky.
Take the trash too, if you're going out.
At an insane asylum, a reporter asks a madman, "How are you? Do you like it here?"
Yes, very much. I like helping the doctor the most.
Very nice. How do you help him?
When the doctor runs after the patients, I throw the chair in front of them.
After drinking in a bar, a guy hurries to get home for fear that his wife will get angry. Arriving home, he sees his boss in bed with his wife in the bedroom. He slowly leaves the house and runs back to the bar. He tells the bartender what happened, and the bartender asks him,
"And what did you do then?"
I thought I still have time to drink a couple more beers.
Who knew a simple tie could be so dangerous? According to a 2018 study, fastening a necktie too tight can cut off blood flow to your brain by a whopping 7.5%. Yikes. That's enough to give anyone a dizzy spell or a headache. On top of that, ties can be a germ magnet and, if not worn correctly, can even increase eye pressure.
So, this explains why the majority of managers are insensitive and have a miserable behavior.
An elderly Irish farmer received a letter from the Department for Work and Pensions. They suspected he was not paying his employees the statutory minimum wage and would send an inspector to interview them. On the appointed day, the inspector appeared.
Tell me about your staff.
Well, here's a guy for farm help. I pay him €240 a week, and he's got a spare cottage. Then there is the housekeeper. She gets €190 a week, along with free food and accommodation. So, there's another fool working here, 16 hours a day, doing 90% of the work. He earn about $25 a week along with a bottle of whiskey, and as a special treat, he occasionally sleeps with my wife.
It's a shame. I must question him right now.
Then it will be me.
An Englishman walks into a bar in New York. The bartender tells him that in this bar you only drink on bets.
"Sir, I bet you that you can't drink a bottle of whiskey in 30 minutes.
The Englishman apologizes, leaves the bar and returns in 10 minutes, puts money on the counter, and accepts the challenge. The bartender gives him the bottle. The Englishman finishes it in 10 minutes. The bartender is stunned.
"Sir, but I didn't think such a thing was possible. I didn't think you could do something like that. No one has ever succeeded."
The Englishman answers,
"I didn't believe it either, but I went to the bar opposite to check."
Another stupid joke. At a boring trial when almost everyone was asleep, a drunk yelled at the judge.
"Kiss my ass. Get out now. No, no, no. Here for all to see."
Subscribe now.
Another stupid joke. The doctor to the newly amputee.
"Sir, I have two for you. Good news and bad news." "What's that bad?" "I amputated your healthy leg." "You mother! And that good?" "The diseased leg heals."
Subscribe now.
A doctor, an engineer, and a programmer start arguing about which was the oldest profession in the world.
God created a woman from Adam's rib, so the oldest profession is medicine.
God separated order from chaos, this being a purely engineering thing.
Okay, but who do you think created the chaos?
Subscribe now.
A boy was asking his father,
"Daddy, did any of your childhood wishes come true?"
Yes, everyone was pulling my hair and I wanted to be bald.
The husband drinks a glass of wine and says,
"I love you so much. I don't know how I would be called live all these years without you."
The wife asks him,
"Is it you? Or are you saying that because you've been drinking?"
"It's me. I was talking with the wine."
Earlier I had an argument with a guy at a restaurant, and he got angry at me. I stood up nicely from the chair and said to him, "Brother, take care that I was in the army, Afghanistan, and I killed people. My wife looked at me and whispered,
My love, but you were a cook in Afghanistan.
Yes, dear, but you know how I cook.
Two masked girls were talking.
Listen, dear, I have a new boyfriend. Look, I have a picture too.
But is a bat.
He told me he was a pilot.
Dad, you have to go to school to talk to the math teacher?
But what did you do this time?
Well, nothing. I just asked, at what end?
Explain me.
Well, at math class, the teacher came with a ruler in her hand and pointed the ruler at me saying, at the end of this triangle is a person with a dull mind. To which I just asked, at what end?
A beggar knocks on the door of a housewife.
Madam, I'm starving. Can you give me a piece of cake?
I understand that you are hungry, but I knew that bread was requested, not cake.
It's true, madam, but today is my birthday.
Christmas and cannibals.
Children, be good this year, because if Santa doesn't come, we won't have anything to eat.
An unsecured climber was about to fall from a rock wall. He could barely hold on to the roof with one hand. He looked at the sky and cried desperately,
God, is there anyone there?
A serious voice is heard.
Yes, son.
What should I do not to smash myself to the ground?
Pray for your sins to be forgiven and detach yourself from the rock without fear.
The climber thinks a little, then shouts again,
Is anyone else there?
Subscribe now.
The police was alerted and a crew announces over the radio station.
Commander, we have arrived at the scene.
So, what is the situation?
A woman stabbed her husband 12 times with a knife, shot him in the head, then burned his body.
And what was her explanation for this horrible crime?
She says that her husband entered the house with his shoes on, while she was washing the parquet floor.
Did you manage to arrest her?
We are waiting for the parquet to dry.
Did you do the shopping?
Bad command or file name.
But I asked you in the morning.
Syntax error. Abortion.
Not even the new TV.
Variable not found.
Okay, give me the credit card. I'll go shopping.
Sharing violation. Access denied.
Are you serious, joking, or trying to annoy me?
Too many parameters.
How come I just married you?
Data type mismatch.
But when do you get your salary?
File in use. Try later.
You make me wonder. What do I mean to you?
Unknown virus.
The boss asks one of his employee.
Do you believe there is life after death?
Yes, sir.
Answers the new employee.
But why do you ask?
Because after you left for your mother-in-law's funeral earlier. Yesterday, she stopped by to see you.
A little girl goes to a pet store and asks,
I'm sorry, do you have cute bunnies?
The seller's heart suddenly melts. He approached the girl and asked her,
Do you want a cuddly white bunny? Or a cuddly black and fluffy cuddly one? Or maybe the cute and brown one over there?
The girl blushes and answers in a whisper,
I think my python doesn't care what color the bunny is.
Little George comes running to his father and says,
Father, our car was stolen.
Son, do you remember the thief's face?
No, but I wrote down the number of the car.
A man goes to the doctor.
I have the impression that you kind of like to drink.
It's true. I drink a bottle of brandy every day and I started seeing white mice.
You have to give up drinking.
Wouldn't it be better to get a cat?
A teacher asked the students to tell a story with a moral. Little George tells.
My father told me a story about Aunt Anna. She was an aviation engineer in the war, and her plane was hit. She had to crash land in enemy territory, and all she had on her was a bottle of vodka, a rifle, and a sword.
The teacher, intrigued, said,
Please continue.
Aunt Anna drank all the vodka to get ready. Then she landed in the middle of 100 enemy soldiers. She killed 70 of them with the machine gun until she ran out of bullets. Then she killed 20 more with the sword until the blade was dull. She killed the last 10 with her bare hands.
The terrified teacher said,
Good God, what did your father tell you? And what is the moral of this story?
Stay away from Aunt Anna when she's drunk.
3 drunk guys were sitting in a bar in a train station. The train was calling for departure, but one of them says,
We still have time.
as he tries to place another order, but the train begins to move. The 3 guys run after it. The first clings to the train and helps the second drunk to get on. The third one stops, catches his breath and starts laughing out loud. A man passing by asked him,
Why are you laughing, man? The next train is only in for hours.
The man answers,
Actually, my 2 friends don't have to go anywhere. They just came with me to the station.
Fun moment from Einstein and Charlie Chaplin met. Einstein said, What I admire most about your art is its universality. Chaplin replied, But your fame is even greater. The world admires you when no one understands you.
The husband is going to the sea on leave, and the wife will also arrive in a few days. Arriving at the hotel. In the evening, he writes an email to his wife, but writes the wrong address, and the message reaches the widow of a priest who died the day before. She, after going through the email in fear, lets out a howl and faints, wanting to find out what could have caused the fainting. The relatives also looked at the computer monitor.
My dear wife, I arrived safely and just checked in. Everything is ready for your arrival tomorrow. Wow, if you only knew how hot it is here.
At the dentist, a mother begs her son, George, please, baby, be nice, open your mouth and do. So that the doctor can remove his fingers.
Hello, banks! Put the damn money in the ATM. Because it's the 3rd time this month that it shows me insufficient funds.
John and George, old friends, were at a bar. After a few beers, they get to talking about love life, and John starts to reveal himself.
My 6-year-old son left my secretary pregnant.
George, very surprised and annoyed, says,
Go, John. This is not even possible.
John insisted.
If I tell you, I didn't believe it either until I asked him.
George already didn't know what to believe, but John comes up with the explanation.
That little rascal took a needle and pierced all the condoms.
A very famous politician visits a car factory and meets with the general manager. After a very cordial discussion, the manager tells him,
Because I appreciate you very much, I want to give you a car as a gift.
I can't accept. I'm a politician, and the press will say that you bribed me.
Then pay me for the car.
How much?
$10.
The politician searches his pockets, finds a $20 bill and gives it to the general manager. Manager takes out his wallet, looks through his pockets and can't find $10, so he gives the rest. Then the politician says,
It's okay if you don't have $10. Give me one more car.
2 friends are talking Monday. Spill the beans. How did your weekend go?
I wanted to go to football and my wife to the movies.
And did you like the movie?
How the media works. A reporter interviews a scientist.
So, you are working on a new treatment against cancer?
Yes, we managed to destroy 10% of the cancer cells in a mouse.
The next day, the newspaper writes, a treatment against cancer has been discovered. The scientist calls the reporter and says,
I didn't say that we managed to cure cancer, but we are moving towards a treatment.
The next day, in the newspaper, the time machine has been discovered. The scientist, angry, called the reporter again.
Fuck you, don't miss my words anymore.
The next day, in the newspaper, a reporter was raped by a scientist.
A man goes to a church.
Father, I cheated. I lied. I stole.
Which political party do you belong to, son?
Honey, I'm going to the gym. Would you like to go with me?
Do I look fat to you?
If you don't want to go, don't go.
Now you say I'm also lazy?
Calm down, dear. I did not insinuate anything.
Now I'm also hysterical, right?
I don't say that.
Aha, so I'm also a liar.
Okay, stay home if you want.
Wait, but why do you want to go alone?
Two men were fishing near a bridge. One of them gets up and sees a procession crossing the bridge. He takes off his cap, bows his head. The procession crosses the bridge. The man puts his cap back on his head, sits down and throws the rod back into the water.
That was really emotional. I didn't know you were so religious.
Well, I was married to her for 40 years.
A ship was passing through the Pacific Ocean. One of the passengers shows the captain that he is a ragged man. He asks the captain,
Who was the guy?
I don't know, but every time we pass by here, he is incredibly happy.
Two men are discussing.
What's wrong with you? Why are you so cranky?
I have problems with my mother-in-law.
Well, we all have problems with mothers-in-law.
But not everyone gets them pregnant.
The wife returns from shopping and tells her husband,
I have 2 news for you. The worst, I spent all your money. The good one, I love you as poor as you are.
AB, do you still love me, that you don't bring me flowers anymore?
I love you, my nightingale. But I don't work at the cemetery anymore.
At a party, the husband to wife.
You were not ashamed to go 3 times. With the plate after the meal.
No, because to each time I said it is for you.
A woman says to a fruit and vegetable seller,
Yesterday I ordered 3 kilos of plums from you and I paid it. And today I sent my son to you to bring it, but he brought only 1 kilogram. I weighed it.
Have you weighed your son? One day a policeman went to the station with a penguin. Here, his boss asked him,
What are you doing with the penguin here? Take it immediately to zoo.
After a while, the police chief left for home from the police station. On the way, he met with the policeman with the penguin.
I told you to take it to the zoo.
I took him, and now we are going to the theater.
A 5-year-old boy to his father.
Father, you should know that I have decided. When I grow up, I want to work at the North Pole. But until then, you have to train me.
Okay, kid, but how should I train you?
Buying me an ice cream every day.
A soldier asks the commander,
If my main parachute doesn't open, nor the spare one, how long will I fly to the ground?
All the rest of your life.
Two friends are talking.
If you knew that I would die tomorrow, what would you tell me? Give me $1,000, please. I'll give them back to you tomorrow.
A female driver stopped in traffic, and she starts screaming at the police officer. The policeman tells her,
Madam, I am writing you a $100 fine for insulting a traffic officer.
Yes. You know what? Write 300, because I'm not done.
Subscribe now. An angry guy enters in a gun shop and shouts,
Quickly give me your rifle.
Rifle? Okay. But what do you need it for?
I want to shoot my mother-in-law. I'm sick of her.
Excuse me, sir, but before shooting your mother-in-law, I would advise you to calm down.
Why?
In the current state, you can very easily miss the target.
Subscribe now.
A lady calls the carpenter to locate and repair an annoying noise. She heard in the house. He comes, starts checking the furniture, and asks,
How come I can't hear anything now?
It's not always, only when the bus passes on the street.
And where do you hear it from?
When I'm near the wardrobe.
Well, I'm going to go into the wardrobe, and when the bus passes, I'll figure out what it is.
But after a few minutes, the lady's husband comes home in a hurry to change because he had an important meeting. He opens the wardrobe and sees the carpenter there. And the carpenter, embarrassed, tells him,
If I tell you I'm waiting for the bus, will you believe me?
Wife to husband.
I would rather have married the devil than you.
Impossible. Marriage between blood relatives is forbidden.
Do you think there are intelligent species on other planets?
Yes. I'm sure.
Why?
The clearest sign of intelligence is the fact that we have not been contacted by anyone.
Invite me to a restaurant, a bar, something.
I don't date married women.
But I am your wife.
I make no exceptions.
My love, please understand me. We just got married. It is not easy for me to break away from my habits since I was single. At least, not immediately.
There is no need. Keep asking your parents for money as nothing has changed.
Two friends are talking.
It doesn't make you sad the fact that all your friends are get married, but you are not?
It makes me sad, but I can't help them.
A guy who was renting invites a friend for a beer one evening. After a few drinks, the guest notices a pan hanging on the wall.
What's with that pan on the wall?
It's not a frying pan, it's a talking clock. And he hit the pan hard. Immediately a voice is heard.
You idiot! Are you knocking again at 2:30 at night?
John was dying and called his wife. They start walking and talking.
Murray, my time has come, but listen to me.
Say, John, and I will do as you want.
Take care of the animals. Don't sell anything. Take care of children. Did you hear that?
I will not sell anything.
Send the grandchildren to school to learn books. Do you understand?
Of course, my dear John.
And I also want you to marry George after I die. Did you hear that?
Why, John? George is your biggest enemy.
Well, that's exactly why.
Honey, how would you describe me?
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K.
What does that mean?
Well, adorable, beautiful, cute, delightful, elegant, fashionable, gorgeous and hot.
Ah, thank you. But what about IJK?
I am just kidding.
Subscribe now.
A lawyer's dog escapes from its leash, enters a butcher shop and steals a piece of meat. The butcher goes to the lawyer and asks him, "If a dog off the leash enters my store and steals something, do I have the right to compensation?"
Absolutely.
Perfect. You owe me $30. The lawyer pays without commenting. After 3 days, the butcher receives an invoice on which he wrote, "Legal consultation to $300.
Let the children believe in Santa Claus. You believe in weight loss products and no one is ruining your magic. St. Peter to God.
Lord, some atheists came to you to ask for your help.
Tell them I don't exist.
A man was married to a very stingy woman. One day he comes home happy and says to his wife,
"Mary, I won £5,000 in the lottery."
The woman's face darkened with anger.
Yes, and how much did the ticket cost?
2 wives were discussing their lives, and one of them starts to complain.
Honey, I don't know what to do with my husband. I always hear him say, Mother wouldn't like this. Oh, if only Mother could see what we're doing. Mom says it's not good. Mom does this better. He's Mama's boy. I can't stand it anymore. If I hear it one more time, don't know what I'll do.
The other woman tells her,
Honey, maybe you need to be more feminine, to behave more provocatively, to awaken his senses and make him forget about his mother.
In the evening, the lady puts on her sexiest black underwear, and she is waiting for her husband. The husband enters the house, sees her and exclaims,
"Oh my God, why are you all in black? Did something happen to Mom?"
A doctor come to check a patient. The patient says,
"Doctor, my back hurts when I wake up in the morning."
Wake up in the afternoon, then.
2 old women talking.
My husband is 65 years old and he goes after women. What to do?
Stay calm. My dog always runs after cars. But he didn't catch it, none.
No English word has double oo, except good. Prove me wrong.
Book. Try reading one.
Subscribe now.
Normal versus introvert people. How they react. Normal people. It's a pleasure to meet you. Introvert people. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Today at the supermarket, I saw a woman struggling to park a car. Do you want me to help you and park it myself? I asked her politely. No, thank you, she answered me. Are you sure? I asked her again after 45 minutes when I went out with the shopping.
Christmas time is great because you can shout, "Don't come in here." And people think you are wrapping presents. When you just want to drink wine in peace and not share your chocolates with anyone.
The husband returns, very angry, from the hospital where the mother-in-law is hospitalized. His wife meets him in the living room.
How does my mother feel?
Your mother is healthy as a horse. She will be discharged soon and will stay with us.
I don't understand. Yesterday, the doctor told me that she is dying.
I don't know what you talked to the doctor about, but he told me to prepare for the worst.
Rabbits jump and they live for 8 years. Dogs run and they live for 15 years. Turtles do nothing and they live for 150. Lesson learned.
Madam, I am calling you from school to tell you that your daughter is a compulsive liar.
Yes, she is a very good liar because I don't have children.
Two guys own grocery stores next to each other. One day someone sticks a poster on the window at the entrance. We have oil for $4 a liter. The other guy also sticks a poster. We have oil for $3.5 a liter. The next day, the first guy puts up another poster. We have oil for $3 a liter. And the two guys continued like that. After a few days, the first guy, angry, comes to the other guy and says,
"Come on, boy. You are not sane. You want us to go bankrupt. We sell oil cheaper than we buy it."
"You are going bankrupt, old man, because I have no oil to sell."
Subscribe now.
Doctor to a patient.
Do you have an appetite?
Sometimes I have, sometimes no.
But when you don't feel like eating?
After I ate.
The wife to her husband.
My dear, soon we will be 3.
He answered happily.
This is fantastic news, my love.
Yes, my mother will come to live with us.
A driver, a priest, is pulled over by the police.
I saw that you had a bottle in the car. What is in it?
It's water.
The policeman checks the contents of the bottle.
Father, but there is wine here.
Blessed be the good God and his miracles.
A man come to the pharmacy.
Mister, pharmacist, the rat poison you gave me is very good.
Yes, I'm happy, and you came to give you another.
No more need. They really liked it. They ate it all, and even gained so much weight that they couldn't fit on the old hole. So the cat caught them all.
Subscribe now.
Everyone believes that every woman's dream is to find her ideal man. Absolutely fake. Every woman's dream is to eat everything she wants and not get fat.
When leaving the parking lot at the supermarket, I scratched the car on the right. I started to leave, but someone stopped me.
How? You leave like that, without leaving a contact number?
To turned around with a sigh and put a business card under the wiper. It was the first time I found it useful. Not to throw away the business cards I receive.
Grandson to grandmother.
Grandma, your drums are the best Christmas present.
The grandmother was happy.
How so?
Yes, Mommy gives me $5 whenever I want to play with them.
The hen makes an egg of 1/2 kilogram. The press comes to take pictures and take interviews. The reporter asked the hen,
How did you reach this performance?
Family secret.
And future plans.
To make a 1 kilogram egg.
Then the rooster is photographed, and he is also interviewed. The reporter also asks him,
Congratulations. How did you achieve this performance?
Family secret.
Any future plans?
I'll twist the ostrich's neck.
A lion fell into a deep pit. There was a tree next to it. A monkey was jumping on the branch of this tree and was still enjoying himself.
Well, that's it, you bad cat. Claws for beads, teeth for jewelry, fur for carpet, head on the wall, that's what you deserve.
And so for about half an hour. But the branch breaks and the monkey falls with the lion.
Oh my! You won't even believe me. I came down to apologize. If you don't subscribe, you are an ugly monkey.
The Count says to the Countess,
My dear, we are broke. Learn to cook, so we can give up the chef.
You better learn to drive, so we can give up the driver.
I went fishing this morning, but after a short time I ran out of worms. Then I saw a snake with a frog in its mouth. Frogs are good base bait. Knowing the snake couldn't bite me with the frog in its mouth, I grabbed it right behind the head, took the frog, and put it in my bait bucket. Now the dilemma was how to release the snake without getting bit. So, I grabbed my bottle of whiskey and poured a little in its mouth. Its eyes rolled back, and it went limp. I released the snake into the lake without incident and carried on fishing using the frog. Not long after, I felt a nudge on my foot. It was that damn snake, with 2 more frogs.
The doctor asks the wife of a politician,
Madam, since when do you say you are married?
For 10 years, doctor.
And how are you still a virgin?
Come on, doctor, you know how politicians are. Promises, promises.
The Central Press of Soviet Russia found out in the 60s that a 140-year-old peasant lived in a village in Siberia. Few reporters go to see what it's all about. They are very surprised when they come across a guy who looks much younger.
How did you manage to stay like that?
The Great Socialist Revolution.
Leave the politics alone. What did you eat? What did you drink?
The Great Socialist Revolution.
Leave it alone. How many wives have you had? How many children have you had?
The Great Socialist Revolution.
This is stupid. Let's let him say what he wants.
The Great Socialist Revolution brought a fool to our town hall. Who got my date of birth wrong by 100 years?
I will never forget that look on the cashier's face when she scanned the packet off bird seed, and I asked her how long does it take for the birds to grow. Once I plant them,
2 cannibals are sitting by a tree. A knight in armor is seen coming. One of the cannibals says,
Today we eat canned goods.
Before an operation, the surgeon asks his patient,
How old are you?
In a month I will be 40 years old.
The surgeon, astonished, says,
Oh, we have an optimist.
2 school friends meet after many years. After a while, one asks,
What do you do for a living? I see you look good.
I make a lot of money from the 10 carrier pigeons I have.
What do you mean? Do you do postal service?
Not, but I manage to sell them almost every day.
A famous singer holds a concert for a group of cannibals. After the concert, a reporter asks the spectators,
What do you think about the singer? Do you like her?
It is difficult for us to pronounce. Appetizing shapes. Lively look, scenic movement.
But we still have to taste her first.
A young man sits on a bench where there is an older man and starts talking to him about the country, the government and, finally, about the legislators. The old man say to the young man,
I think that politicians are like a turtle on a pole.
I don't understand this analogy. What does this mean, sir?
The old man explains.
If you see a turtle balancing on a pole, what conclusions could you reach?
Seeing the young man's surprise, he continued.
First of all, you don't understand how it got there. Second, you can't believe that he is sitting there. Thirdly, you know for sure that she could not have reached there alone. Fourth, you should do something so that he doesn't stay there anymore. Fifth, it's obvious that she won't do anything useful while she's there. So, the only rational thing would be to help her get down.
George goes to his boss's office.
Sir, I have to be honest with you. I know the economy isn't doing great, but 3 other big companies are looking for me. And I'd like to respectfully ask for a raise.
After 10 minutes of negotiations, the two reach a 5% salary increase. George is very happy and gets up to leave the boss's office. The boss asks him,
By the way, which are the 3 companies that are looking for you? The electricity company, the cable company, and the gas company.
Dad, today the teacher asked a question and I raised my hand first.
Wow, congratulations, son. And what did he ask?
He asked who could not solve the problem.
2 customers waiting in a restaurant. The waiter asks,
What do you want, gentlemen, tea or coffee?
An iced tea, please. Me too, but make sure the glass is clean. The waiter leaves and returns with 2 glasses of iced tea and asks the gentlemen's,
Which of you asked for a clean glass?
Subscribe now.
My dear, we have a very smart dog.
Why?
Because brings the newspaper every morning.
So, and the neighbors' dogs do this.
Yes, but we no longer have a subscription to the newspaper.
The teacher asks little George,
Hey, George. Can you tell me what fairy tales are?
Sure. Dad says we hear them in every election campaign.
Subscribe now.
My dear, what are you giving me for Christmas?
Nothing. What about you?
Still nothing.
Now, you saw, we have the same tastes.
When the man gets fat and has a belly. Wife, you started to look like your father. Mistress,
My beloved and fluffy bear.
friends,
Welcome to the club.
neighbors.
How
How
this
well
one is
everyone
doing?
is doing. A rich man goes fishing. He gets out of his luxurious car, takes out his fishing rod with diamonds and silk thread and tries his luck. Out of nowhere, he catches the goldfish, and to his surprise, the golden fish speaks.
Boss, I'm the goldfish, the one with 3 wishes, you know.
The rich man asks the golden fish.
Okay, say what wish you want.
God and St. Peter were sitting in heaven and talking about the pollution of the earth. God plans to visit the planet to assess a situation, and Peter wishes to accompany him. They reached a huge pipe on the seashore, and God asked,
Peter, what is this pipe for?
Through this pipeline, garbage and chemicals that kill fish and sea flora are pumped out into the sea.
God decides to go out to sea and stop this. He started walking on the water and St. Peter after him. Soon the water reached him up to his knees while God walked further. Then up to the arm and after that up to the neck. He couldn't resist anymore and said,
I'll follow you wherever you want, but if I go any further, I'll drown in this polluted water.
Immediately God turns to him and says,
Hey, Peter, but why don't you go on the pipeline like me?
Did you know that? In 1876, Graham Bell invented the telephone. And when he first connected it, he already had 4 missed calls from his wife.
When I saw the tiger, I rushed at him with a knife and cut off his tail.
Why didn't you cut off the head?
Well, that one had been cut by someone else.
Santa Claus enters a house. He leave the presents under the tree, and when he was getting ready to leave, see some biscuits and a glass of milk on the table, and next to them a big ticket on which it was written, For Santa. Santa happily eats some crackers and a drink of milk, then takes the ticket and starts to read it. Shocked, read the following.
Dear Santa, leave a new bicycle under the Christmas tree, and I will give you the antidote to the poison. With love, Julia. Subscribe. More Christmas jokes coming soon.
One day a TV star said,
If it looks like I've gained weight, you should know that a video camera makes you gain 5 kilograms.
After the show, a friend calls and asks her,
And with how many cameras do you film? 7 to 8? Subscribe. Baby, where's my present?
Honey, do you see that red Ferrari outside?
Wow, baby.
I bought you a lipstick of the same color.
Subscribe now.
Who always obeys his mother, who never argues with her,
who always does everything she asks, will receive these sweets. Who do you think it is?
Father, is you.
Look at that drunk guy.
Okay, who is he?
10 years back, he proposed to me and I rejected him.
Oh my God. He's still celebrating.
One morning the lion nervous get out from the house. And the first one meets a fox.
Hey fox, say quickly, who is the king of animals?
You. It's you, your majesty.
The lion goes on and meets the wolf.
Come on, bro, who is the king of the animals? I'm eating your livers here.
It's you, your majesty.
He goes on. And in a valley he comes across an elephant quietly eating some grass.
Come on, you fat. Tell me who is the king of the animals, or I'm going to take your heart out.
The elephant grabs him by the head with his trunk, knocks him against about 3 trees, and leaves him wide in the middle of the road, still grazing undisturbed. The lion sits motionless for about half an hour, and leaves limping and grumbling.
If you don't know, you don't know, and that's it. You don't have to become violent.
2 guys discuss their families.
I have 4 sons. The first studied law, the second business management, the third painting, and the fourth is a pickpocket.
And why don't you kick the 4th one out of the house?
Because only he brings money to the house. The others are unemployed.
A guy goes to a pet shop to buy a parrot and sees a beautiful one with 2 strings tied to its wings. Curious, he asks the seller why the parrot has 2 strings tied to his legs. The seller tells him that if he pulls the string from his left leg, the parrot speaks French, and if he pulls the thread from his right leg, it speaks in Chinese. Stunned, the buyer asks,
But if I pull both strings simultaneously, what happens?
I'm falling in the ass, fool.
Today I was stopped by a traffic policeman.
Do you know why I pulled you to the right?
No, sir.
Well, this doesn't happen very often, but I followed you for about 10 kilometers and I can say that you are doing well behind the wheel. Correct positioning on the road, caution and respect for other road users. Congratulations.
Thank you. So I take it I would be able to get my driver's license, right?
A man was walking through the park and saw 2 women. He says to the first woman,
You are the woman of my life. I fell in love from the moment I saw you. Do you want to have a coffee with me?
No.
What about your friend?
Honey, you trust me, right?
Yes, my dear, normal.
You know I would never lie to you.
Obviously.
Well, a metal pole attacked me when I was parking the car at the mall.
Subscribe now.
My wife just stopped it and said,
You weren't even listening, were you?
I thought, that's a pretty weird way to start a conversation.
You will die in misery, poor and stupid.
I did not understand what you said.
I said, your loan has been approved.
Subscribe.
A priest says to a man,
There will come a day when you will pay for all your sins.
Silly father, I'm already paying. Cigarettes and alcohol are not free, you know.
A lady goes shopping. The cashier tells her,
Ma'am, your bills are wet.
I know. My husband cried a lot when he gave it to me.